A quick question. Do you by any chance enjoy exotic RPGs with insane politics made by crazy people from faraway countries? Well then, do I have a gift for you today? It all starts so innocently. Back in the 90s, the Polish studio Metropolis Software secured the rights to adapt Sapkowski's The Witcher into a video game, long before the franchise became a global phenomenon. They produced a playable level, but it doesn't seem like the project went anywhere past that, probably because the studio was working on multiple other titles at the time. And in 1999, Metropolis released Gorky 17, a strategy RPG hybrid about a team of NATO operatives exploring an abandoned Polish town, where the secret Soviet military experiments led to the creation of grotesque monsters. A highly underrated game, Gorky had a wild aesthetic. The creatures you fight look like something out of a 90s FPS game like Doom or Quake. Biomechanical horrors with machine guns and rocket launchers for limbs. The sort of visuals that are not normally associated with Soviet anything. So, not long after the game was out, Gorky was noticed by someone important. Practically unknown outside of the Russian-speaking world, Dmitry Goblin Puchkov is like a Soviet Hideo Kojima, but older, meaner, and with connections in high places. Back in the late 90s, Puchkov ran a gaming blog, mostly covering FPS games, esports gossip, with an occasional story reminiscing about his time in the St. Petersburg police force. We used to be a real country, but these days it seems everyone is either a prostitute or a senator. Dmitry played Gorky 17 and enjoyed it. But there was one problem. The Polish character made some very unpleasant, racist, Naziist jokes about Russians.
Российско-нацистские шутки.
They did not respect the Soviet state in this game. As it happens, Mr. Puchkov knew the head of Russia's largest video game publishing company at the time, Yuri Yurich Miroshnikov, and together they agreed Gorky 17 needs a new story, and who better to rewrite a tactical RPG with a retro shooter aesthetic than an FPS blogger? The newest release, now called Gorky 18, turned out to be a genuinely good, one-of-a-kind product. This is what this video is about. The rewrites were extensive. The espionage plot about the Soviet secrets was mostly gone, replaced with a satire of 90s Russia. But the game was still a tactical RPG, and it still had the biomechanical horrors for enemies, as if this was Doom or Quake. The game's protagonists would make snarky remarks to own the libs, while battling monsters with rocket launchers for arms. What a strange combination of features. So let's dive right in. But before we do, I should say thank you to today's video sponsor. Of course, the best possible sponsor for a video about a tactical RPG is another tactical RPG. Watcher of Realms can be described as a hybrid between King's Bounty and a tower defense game. Combat success in Watcher of Realms hinges on precise unit placement, smart resource management, and the timing of abilities. Yes, there are action elements in there too. There is a variety of game modes to test your tactical skills. In PvE, players face off against powerful bosses, but you can also join a guild and take part in guild versus guild battles, defend your stronghold or assault enemy bases. Watcher of Realms is shaking things up a bit for their second anniversary by introducing the new Tactical Mastery faction, along with new heroes, mechanics, and events. Watcher of Realms is available on both PC and mobile platforms. Click the link in the description and scan the QR code to download the game for free on PC, Android, or iOS. Now is the best time to dive into Watcher of Realms. The year is 2008. This version of the story doesn't take place in Poland. We are somewhere in the northern Caucasus. The secret city Gorky 17 was contaminated with a weaponized strain of typhus. That's why this place is quarantined. At least that's the official story. A NATO reconnaissance unit has infiltrated Gorky. We have good relations with NATO, but these actions are suspect, to say the least. Objective 1 is to find out what happened to the missing NATO soldiers. Objective 2 is to find and secure a secret lab located somewhere close to the city center. In charge of the mission is Colonel Vasin, who speaks with a slight southern or perhaps Ukrainian accent. He is assisted by Warrant Officer Krotov, who keeps making jokes about stealing the valuables the evacuated residents of Gorki had to leave behind. The third member of the squad is Private Zelenkin, who, may Allah forgive me for uttering this word, is a liberal.
Не будут посылать на Кавказ.
Comrade Colonel, the draft office told us that no one would be sent to the Caucasus. By sending me here, the armed forces have violated my rights, not to mention the law. I strongly protest this abuse of authority and demand immediate investigation into this legal situation. Zelenkin will have an amazing character arc in this game. Almost immediately we are thrown into the tutorial battle.
Это еще что за урод?
What the hell? What kind of a freak is this? In the English version, this creature is called a skink, but in the version improved by Herr Gobbler, this is a sphinxter. Every creature in this game is annoying in its own special way, and I mean this as a compliment. There are no real trash enemies in Gorky. And these things are giraffes. A giraffe is armed with a machine gun that deals area of effect damage, and they have a blade for melee. It's a Quake monster. No wonder Goblin liked this game.
Quake World.
Between the fights, we wander the ruins and solve adventure game-like item puzzles. Doesn't take long to find the missing expedition.
Он тоже из НАТО.
Hey, I know this guy. He's from NATO. He was with the Americans who came to our unit to hand out humanitarian aid. He was definitely from a Western Special Forces unit, educated, strong, and very calm, not like our people.
Ага, я тоже гляжу.
Yeah, he's real calm now.
Как вам не стыдно, товарищ прапорщик?
How can you say that, comrade warrant officer? They were helping us. Private Zelenkin is like a tanky, but in reverse. He stands NATO instead of Stalin. Russians have a term for this. It's demshiza, democracy plus schizophrenia.
Заканчивай политинформацию.
Drop the political commentary and search the bodies. So, 2 members of the NATO expedition are dead. This means 2 of them could still be alive. Glass half full and all that.
Не стреляйте! Я не монстр!
Don't shoot! I'm not a monster, I'm a human being. Ivan is a Gorky local and our first recruit. The creatures we fought are Ivan's mutated neighbors. Imagine mutating into this. A strange quirk of the design is that boss battles are both very common and almost always much easier than battles against regular mobs.
О, Господи!
Oh god, we've walked right into a death trap. They sent us here to die.
Спасибо!
Thanks for the helpful commentary, soldier. The big creature is the dung fly, and the little escorts are dung freaks. This battle has a unique mechanic. Every time we land a final blow on one of the dung freaks, the fly gets a free turn. So what you do is that you use grenades to kill as many freaks as possible in a single turn, to minimize the big creature's advantage. The next fight is a boss battle as well. This one is called Master Blaster. Unfortunately for this thing, most bosses in Gorky can be stun-locked with a taser or a dart pistol. Master Blaster may look intimidating, but this thing is basically just free XP with good PR. The squad encounters more humans near the sewer entrance. These are marauders and they're stealing valuables.
Слышь, братва,
Hey fellas, let's just walk away nice and easy. The colonel gets real mad.
твоя братва во враге лошадь доедает, урод!
Your fellas are down in the ravine chewing on a dead horse, you freak. You'd better start picking out the wall I'm gonna shoot you against. What a weird expression. According to Proverbs and Sayings of Russian Criminals and Inmates by Alexander Sidorov, the horse line is an insulting response to someone who wrongly calls you a comrade. The thief drops intelligence about one of the game's antagonists, General Barsukov, and the secret lab we are supposed to find.
Барсуков держит.
Judging by how heavily the lab is guarded, Barsukov must be keeping the Holy Grail in there.
Какой такой святой грааль?
What Holy Grail. What kind of nonsense is that?
Это просто метафора.
It's just a metaphor. The Grail is the cup that was used to collect the blood of the crucified Christ, pierced by a Roman spear. It's a priceless artifact. So when they speak of the Grail, what they mean is that the lab is heavily guarded.
Я и без тебя знаю, что метафора.
I know it's a metaphor, you little shit. Enough with the philosophy lesson. Now we invade the fecal waters. Our buddy Ivan doesn't want to descend into the sewers and says he's going back home.
Странный он какой-то.
He is kinda weird. The extra followers don't stay full on in this.
Зеленки.
Zelenkin, watch your rear end. Look at the kind of toys these guys have pointed at you.
Так не договаривались.
This wasn't part of the deal. I'm filing a complaint with the Soldiers' Mothers Committee. And that's the body of another member of the NATO expedition. There is still one operative unaccounted for. So it looks like one of our guests from NATO did survive. Her name is Lara Croftman, and after a brief exchange, she joins the group. Lara speaks with a heavy accent, and she's very passionate about democracy and social justice causes. She gains extra benefit from healing items. That's very useful. Next up is an abandoned museum and its mechanical guardian. What's up with the fart-propelled miracle of engineering?
Кибернетических организмов.
This looks like some kind of a cybernetic organism. I've seen this in comic books.
Ты бы лучше не комиксы разглядывал.
Zelenkin, you should spend less time reading Homo books and more time studying the army regulations. The twist with this thing is that it doesn't actually use the body of the creature to attack. It has a shotgun strapped to the side which deals unimpressive damage. Again, bosses are pathetic in this. Looks like we finally run into normal people. This is another NATO team, also deployed into the city. They inform us that the command has issued an evacuation order. A chopper will come to pick us up. That's good, I guess. I suppose we'll finish exploring the museum while we wait. This is Medusa, a friendly mutant.
Давайте немедленно убьем.
Let's kill this thing now! Private Zelenkin is being uncharacteristically bloodthirsty.
Если оно разговаривает,
Kill it? If it can talk, that means it's a person. Don't you dare violate its rights. Medusa says his name is Pyotr Vasilyev. He used to work at the museum before the mutation. Despite Krotov's protests, he joins the squad, filling the final party slot. We'll see him in action in just a second. This battle has a special win condition. The monsters will attack the computer terminal in the center, and we have to protect it. Medusa has a spammable electricity attack, as well as a poison strike that paralyzes enemies. The latter requires no ammo, but has a cooldown. Pyotr turns out to be a very useful party member. His main downside is poor mobility. Perhaps it's not the monsters who are our enemy. Perhaps it's the libtards like Zelenkin. Puchkov explained his intentions in one of the interviews. Obviously, a character arc is present. Private Zelenkin, from a liberal moron, transforms into a worthy citizen of the Russian Federation. There was the key phrase.
Товарищ полковник.
Comrade Colonel, what if we kill that one first, the one with the nails in its head?
Зеленки.
Zelenkin, you are in the army. You can kill whoever you want. That little exchange indicated that personal growth was happening, and Z was transforming from Demshiza to a red chud. This caused much seething of fecal matter among the members of our liberal public. All these morons were mad as hell. The game uses pre-rendered backgrounds, kind of like an Infinity Engine title. I wouldn't call it pretty, at least not the first half, which mostly takes place in what looks like a giant trash can. But here in the museum, things begin to change for the better. An evac helicopter is supposed to be waiting for us on the roof, but it's not here. Lara says this is exactly what happened to the NATO squad. They were waiting for evac that never came. And then our friend Pyotr the Medusa begins talking gibberish and declares his intention to eat us. An interesting tactical challenge, since Pyotr is one of the few bosses who appear to be immune to crowd control effects. I got careless. Despite not having much in a way of move points, Medusa managed to outmaneuver us and land an impressive AoE. But Krotov gets his revenge in the end. The party slot doesn't remain vacant for long. You have to use a stun grenade on the roof shack to make its inhabitant come out.
Вы чё в натуре?
Vladimir Zamchalov is a tracksuit-wearing idiot gangster businessman of the 90s. He was part of a posse sent to Gorky by the Bratva to shake up a local entrepreneur. Things did not go according to plan. Vladimir's buddies, Kolan and Tolan, are now dead. He is the sole survivor.
А коляне и толяне
The memory of Kolan and Tolan will forever live on in the hearts of the Bratva. Vladimir joins the team. He's a missable party member who doesn't have a lot of voice lines, but having him around makes things a lot easier. The chopper obviously isn't coming, so we gear up our new squaddy and head back to the museum, where a boss is waiting. This is the Overbrain. Its strong-looking escorts are the succubi. The boss attacks with a paralyzing laser, and it has a melee sword strike, but it's the succubi who will be responsible for most of the incoming damage. The name Overbrain is a reference to a late 90s gamer culture moment. In a notorious Russian pirate translation of StarCraft Brood War, the Zerg Overmind was renamed to Overbrain. We are finally exploring the town. It's funny how useful Lara turned out to be. Perhaps NATOs and normal people can coexist after all. Colonel Vasin shows some character development. He used to be dismissive of Lara, but now he seems to be genuinely concerned for her. Alas, Lara Croftman dies. The final member of the NATO team is gone, and this sucks. We could have used her help in the next fight, because next up is General Barsukov and his Spetsnaz guards. It's clear that he has his own shady agenda concerning the lab we've been ordered to find. Barsukov orders us to stay out of his way.
товарищ генерал.
Comrade General, we are not in Moscow, and this is not the Priarbatsky military district. I am not for sale.
Не продаюсь.
Not for sale, Colonel. I'm not offering you money. I'm offering to keep you alive. If I wanted you dead, you would have already been a warm poo squeezed out of some monster's rear end. Colonel Vasin, possibly impressed by Barsukov's poetry, wants to solve this problem diplomatically, but Warrant Officer Krotov interjects, starting a fight.
Жили-были три брата.
There once were three brothers, says Barsukov. One was smart, the other was stupid, and the third one was a warrant officer. The Spetsnaz soldiers don't have a lot of HP or anything in the way of resistances, but their weapons have a very long range. It's probably possible to win this by going through a ton of consumables, but I am greedy, so I reloaded a save. We'll be back once we're stronger. Doesn't really look like a Soviet city, does it? The game is supposed to take place in Poland, and I can tell. A damsel in distress.
Ты смотри, а?
Look at that, Commander. The town is full of women, but the monsters don't want them. Our new toy, the ion rifle, is a clever cooldown-based weapon that has no range limit, and it hits everything both in front and behind the shooter for massive damage. Its only true limitation is that many monsters are immune to energy weapons. Meet our final team member.
Ну, слава тебе, Господи,
Oh, thank God, finally! When you really need a man around, there is never one in sight. My name is Yelena Krisuk. I'm a reporter for the newspaper Global Anomaly. We cover paranormal phenomena, and we also fight for the human rights around the world. Her name can be roughly translated as Rat Son. The game is satirizing journalists, possibly because of the perceived disloyal behavior of the media during the Chechen War. It would appear that all human rights at once are being violated here in Gorky. Yelena thinks the military is behind this, and she intends to expose them. Her gimmick is an extremely high luck score. Inside the VCR repair shop, we find a ridiculous but glorious consumable, an orbital laser strike. I bet it will be useful in the Spetsnaz battle. Z executes Barsukov with a baseball bat. The secret lab is hidden beneath the hotel, so that's our next destination.
Товарищ полковник!
Comrade Colonel, permission to strangle that thing. This monster, called Stinky, is interesting because it doesn't deal damage. Instead, it uses an area of effect freeze ray, making it a pure crowd control unit. The lab is the final level. It's also no place for civilians. Miss Krisuk and Vladimir will have to stay behind. They don't have the security clearance, and the journalist has seen enough already.
Что Карл Маркс
You have enough material for 3 volumes so thick that Karl Marx would cry from envy. Stay here and have a chat with Mr. Zamchalov, a businessman of the new formation, about the problems of Russian democracy.
Вы что?
What? You are leaving me with that bandit? He's scarier than any monster. This is social commentary. The libtarded reformers dismantled the Soviet man's great empire. And now she will face the monstrous consequences of what she helped create. We are back to our original 3 heroes. Unless you moved the items beforehand, you will lose whatever gear Yelena and Vladimir were carrying. But it doesn't really matter. The lab is full of loot, and the fights here aren't difficult. I am the NATO bloc representative in the republics of the North Caucasus. Your mission is over, Colonel. Slowly place your weapons on the ground and step back. In 10 minutes, a helicopter will arrive and we'll all fly home together.
Спасибо за приглашение.
Thanks for the invitation, but I don't get into helicopters with men I don't know. And my home isn't where yours is. Why are they shooting? Ours are brotherly countries where democracy has won. Just like in the Spetsnaz encounter, the troopers aren't especially durable, but they can deal a lot of damage from long range. Luckily, so can we. Hey Pindos, we don't need your NATO democracy. That's just a trick to steal our oil. In an interview, Puchkov said that at the time this was made, they genuinely believed that these were the final years of Russia's existence. This is a defiant last stand of a Soviet man. Deeper in the lab, we finally get to fight the invisible monsters that killed Lara. They don't reveal themselves until they strike, so you have to guess where they are. Splash damage works super well. Remember Ivan from the docks, who refused to invade the fecal waters and was subsequently killed off-screen? Well, he's back. The main quest proceeds to dump several stories worth of lore. The Soviets were running secret teleportation experiments, and NATO was backing them. They were possibly saving the world from something. A Soviet general arrives, guarded by foreign soldiers. We have seen too much. The general says he'll reward us with the Russian Medal of Honor. Posthumously. I'm not sure what he expected to accomplish with just 3 dudes. The ex-lib Zelenkin can probably solo these guys. And then Ivan transforms into his or hers true form, which is a monster queen. The queen has a stun attack, and she can create a poison cloud that applies damage over time. This would have been quite dangerous if the queen was immune to tranquilizers, which she's not, making this battle a joke. Z can probably solo this as well, but we'll never know, because Krotov executes the creature with a shotgun blast, as is fitting for a retro shooter turned into a tactics game. And then it all abruptly ends. We never return to the companions we left behind. I'm guessing the original Polish developers ran out of money. Probably has something to do with all the parallel projects they were working on. Not sure who this man is or what secrets he uncovered. Metropolis Software made 2 sequels, or rather prequels, to Gorky, but from the looks of it, they seem to have abandoned the retro shooter monster aesthetic. Why? That's the best part. You can get the original version on Steam, but keep in mind that the story is completely different in that. The game is 7 hours long. If you are going to be playing this, make sure to download a mod that fixes the difficulty, as combat becomes too easy halfway through. So this was Gorky 18, a game to own the libs, a time capsule of the 90s culture wars. The way Goblin Puchkov described the creative process behind the rewrite made it seem that it was mostly improvised and took very little effort. Yet, this tiny little game has more quotable lines than many 50-hour crapogers. We invade the fecal waters. In the hearts of the Bratva, you can kill whoever you want. If I wanted you dead, you'd already been a warm poo squeezed out of some monster's rear end. According to Puchkov, Gorky 18 significantly outsold the official version. He's likely referring to domestic sales. We live in capitalism, and we measure everything with money. It sold better, meaning it is better. Something like that. But the most important addition to the Goblin lore is waiting for us in the credits. In 2006, Puchkov would author a role-playing game called Planet Alcatraz. It was about Soviet space marines exploring a racially segregated prison planet. In that game, we play as Cadet Kaban. And here in the credits, we learn that Puchkov wrote Gorky 18 together with his son, whose alias appears to be Kaban. Some content in Planet Alcatraz can be described as controversial, like, for example, the brothel scene. I would certainly not use words like consent to describe what happens there. Basically, what I'm saying is that in that game, we play as a violent But this discovery makes it seem like Puchkov at least partially based that character on his own kid. What the f***?